I wanted, I think, do you guys all have your own mic, or are you sort of sharing?
Sharing.
Okay, all right. Sam, I'm going to start with you. You started this as a film. What was the process by which it became the pilot?
I think I was on page 90, and I wasn't even halfway through Act 1, so I was like, oh, this could be a TV show, because it's not going to be a movie. And you know, I part of it was the characters wound up being a lot, bigger than I anticipated when I started writing the feature. And the characters.
Do you mean physically bigger, or?
No, it's mentally, because he's got some issues, as you saw. So, yeah, it just became a lot to immerse, it's too much for a feature.
And so, did you turn the pilot into USA just fully formed, fully baked?
Oh, yeah. I had a full pilot, and because I knew where it was going, I actually had a full first season planned out. Which is basically what would have been my Act 1 feature.
How many seasons do you have planned out?
I would say, I don't have them all planned out in detail, but I think it's only going to be, hopefully four or five.
And the idea of taking control from the 1% and giving it to the 99%, when did that gestate in your head?
I've always been like this kind of, those typical angry teenagers in love with Holden Caulfield and whatever, and you just always want to always want to fight the system. But I have to say, I grew up in the 90s, in the last 15 years, it's just become so corrupt with the financial meltdown, and I just think that there's a certain anger that. I think it's very timely. I think it's part of like our society right now that there's not really, even with the Occupy Wall Street movement, there really hasn't been a lot of change in that aspect of society. So.
And when you told NBC Universal that this is basically a show about basically a show about taking down corporate America, no one there said not a good idea.
No, as long as they can make money off of it.
Yeah, they're going to win again.
Yeah.
Rami Malek, congratulations.
Thanks. Thank you guys.
So how much did you know about Elliot while you were filming the pilot?
Well, quite a bit. I'm still figuring it all out, learning more each day, but I knew a lot about him. I knew how, right off the bat, incredibly complicated he was. It's like Christian says in the pilot, he's in prison, and really, obviously you see he's smart, he's lonely, he's grieving, very complicated, and he still somehow finds a way to persevere. And that strikes me about him. I think that's something that everybody can relate to. I don't know if he feels like a hero in an unlikely way.
Sure.
In an uncertain time.
I have to ask you about the first scene. Pilots are so difficult to do, and usually they're not nearly as good as the rest of the show. And this one's pretty extraordinary in that it's so interesting yet so economical. And in the first scene, one of the most difficult things about them is actors have to give an awful lot of exposition about who their character is during the show. And that first scene with Ron, you give a lot of information, but it's so nicely written and so nicely acted that you don't feel it, and the tension never lets up. But I have to ask, how difficult, and Sam, you may want to chime in, how difficult was it to write that, and how difficult was it to act and shoot it?
Do you want to hear what I have to say? It was my least favorite day on set, I'll tell you that. It was incredibly difficult. It's the scene's twice as long written, and we cut it, we edited it. As is happening more and more often these days, because Sam's an incredible writer, but we can't make movies every week. for some reason it became, it was a difficult day. I mean, every day felt really good, but I walked away that night and I wasn't happy, but it seemed to have worked out. The tension was there, and it's like you said, I always felt like, yeah, we're delivering a lot of exposition, but it was done in a very clever way, and Sam writes cleverly and poetically, and we're all better served because we have this incredible writer.
I mean, I'll address the one thing. It is a lot longer, and I hate exposition, but unfortunately you have to do it, otherwise people won't be able to follow. And so I usually talk around it and bury it, and like just have 10 million lines of dialogue around the exposition, and I think that's what feels more organic. That's what happens in just day-to-day conversation. But like Rami said, unfortunately, it becomes like a 20-minute scene, and you have to cut it down. But then that's where the performance comes in and it takes it to another level.
And as far as the tech expertise, Rami, how much did you know? How much have you had to learn?
I'm incredibly techy.
Yeah.
No, it's not my forte. I'm an actor, sadly. I'm not a computer hacker, and I don't claim to be one. But I'm getting better. We've, been taking lessons, and we had a tech advisor on set, and Sam's my own personal tech advisor every day, telling me every time I'm doing it wrong. So it's on-the-job training, I guess.
I would think the tech advisor is a very hard job on this show. There's a lot of it.
Yeah, we had to have.
Here you go.
We had to have multiple people. And we don't green screen anything. Which is a lot of people when they do computer screens, they do that and they just figure it out in post. But I always think that looks fake because I want to see like the pixels on the screen. So it's a lot of prep, and we had like basically a team of people creating the screens, coding the screen. You know what I mean? It was pretty insane. But I think it just the authenticity of it is really important to me. So
the title character, Mr. Robot.
Hi.
Hi. So, Christian, you've got I'm assuming, I think I'm right. You have you get a lot of pilots. Mm-hmm. What was it about this pilot? What specifically was it about that character that you're doing?
Let's see, specifically, well, I thought it was certainly a more mysterious character than I've had an opportunity to portray before. I like how things are slowly revealed in it. I love the fact that it shoots here in New York, the fact that F Society is at Coney Island, in fact, my office is right next to the Cyclone. It's great. Yeah, so all those aspects. And also, look, the subject matter I thought was certainly, like Sam was saying, I mean, it certainly couldn't be more relevant. I mean, the President of the United States was just hacked yesterday. So, it's certainly a subject that's becoming, well, not becoming, but is very scary and dangerous, and this sort of power in the wrong hands can be extraordinarily dangerous.
What do you think sets this particular show apart from other cyber crime shows that are on right now?
You want that?
I'll take that.
Okay, buddy.
Just from working on the character, and we're all of our characters, the things we talk about with Angela, all the mounting consumer debt that we all share. It's not just about computers. It's the effect of so many things on our society, classism, and how technology is it helping us to connect to one another? Is it pulling us further apart? Will it be the demise of our society? All these things that are kind of corrupting us. So it's not just this show about technology. It's about human connection, and are we driving ourselves further apart? Is the society we live in driving us further apart from being able to exist and flourish in it because of the circumstances it prescribes for us? So it's heavy in that sense, but you get the hacking and you get as you had today, some very light, funny moments. It's very well rounded.
Yeah, I mean, I will also say that I also knew a lot of hackers, growing up, and when you watch, I'm sorry to say, but these terrible television shows and movies about hacking, they sort of try and circumvent what hacking is all about by just throwing cheesy graphics at you, and then throwing some technical jargon that makes no sense, and then they go off and be their pretty little selves in other scenes. And that's not what, I mean, hacking actually, a lot of it has to do with social engineering, and just the subculture of hacking is just far more interesting than that. So it's actually one of the reasons that I really wanted to make the show. I had a passion for writing this kind of character and writing for this world, but I was also really frustrated at the way it was always misrepresented.
Why are you hanging out with so many hackers?
I'm not anymore. That's where the
Are you in trouble? Christian, just tease out a little bit about, I know you don't want to spoil anything, but what more are we going to learn about Mr. Robot?
Tough.
I know it's a tough one.
Nothing. That is a tough one. I mean, like Sam said, it is in his brain, all these episodes and what the arc of the story is. And look, the fact that little bits get revealed as the episodes continue, I think is it's a lot of fun for me as a character and hopefully as an audience to find out, by the end who this guy really is and what his true motive and agenda is. I think it's a fun journey to take for me as an actor and hopefully for an audience to enjoy.
In this role, you do this particular thing that you do especially well, which is be completely creepy and completely lovable at the same time.
Weird compliment.
It's a weird compliment, but it's a compliment nonetheless.
Thank you.
What are you about when you're
That's
talking?
what I bring to entertainment.
What you get when you hire Christian Slater. Weird
So
charm.
glad to play that role in your lives.
Because you so want him to follow Mr. Robot off the subway, and yet it's because it's
Right.
you, not because of what goes on in the scene necessarily.
Yeah, you're not sure. That's one of the things that is fun about the character is you don't know if you should really be going with this guy or not, but hopefully, the allure and more sexual charm, I think, is what try and bring to it, not creepiness. That's what really manipulates it in the organization.
Portia.
Right? That was it.
Oh, that was
No, you go. By the way, did you all know that I'm gay? Yeah, leave it alone. Angela,
That's great.
you had an interesting challenge also in the pilot in that, I'm sorry, Portia, I have trouble separating reality from fantasy often. But there's one line that says that Angela and Elliot were childhood friends. But there's that one little clue. But in all of your scenes together, you actually have to convey that you've been friends and know each other very well for a very long time. And that's sort of all in the acting. Did you guys spend a lot of time together? Did you talk about the relationship between those two characters?
I don't know. I think that, we did like a little rehearsing before we shot the pilot, but not really. I think it just kind of unfolded how it did, and it was fun working with each other. So.
And what can we expect from their relationship going forward?
Yes.
Maybe what do you want to have happen to their relationship?
That's another question.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, then you're not giving anything away.
Oh, how should I answer this? I don't know. I think what's really interesting about these two characters is, they share the same struggle. I think that they're both lonely and really detached, and Angela's really driven to want to become a part of society and get validated by being successful in the corporate world, and that's how, she can feel less detached and lonely. And I think the conflict there is that, he's very lonely and detached in a different way and strives to, either destroy or protect that. So in effect, Angela kind of represents everything that he hates, and yet they have this connection with each other from childhood. And yeah, you through the season you get to kind of see how that develops. What can I say?
It's good. It's good.
And what?
Anyway.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. How would you like it to turn out?
I want to get busy. Whatever.
Great.
Yeah.
What else are we going to learn about? What else are we going to learn about Angela?
I would say, what can I say hoping into this? I think what's interesting is her, internal struggle. She represents a lot of people that I know, like a lot of my friends that are kind of working in corporate America, and what it takes to be successful, and whether or not, you have to compromise your morals and your integrity in order to work alongside corrupt corporations. And is that necessarily bad if it means gaining respect and power? And I think that's a huge part of her journey, kind of separating from this innocence and deciding whether or not she should bend to gain respect.
Carly?
Yeah.
What are we going to learn about Darlene going forward? Oh,
Do I
sorry.
Sorry.
pass it down? Does this even work?
Yes, that will work.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't sound like it's working, but it does.
But okay,
There.
We can hear you.
perfect. My character is probably one of my favorite things in the entire world. People. And it just gets teased a little in the pilot, and like Christian said, with a lot of them, over the course of the season, more and more it gets revealed. She's kind of second in command to Mr. Robot, with like the mastermind behind all of this. And I think doing this plan and bringing it to life is like really her passion and what she wants and is striving for. And we see her, explore all that and be a badass. And she's a really fun character, and there's also like a lot of other sides to her that we get to know. And I love her.
If the show is a hit, she'll inspire many young women to become hackers, which I think is great.
Yes, I love that she, to have like a strong female, and women hackers.
Which do exist.
Which do exist.
That's right.
I think a lot of times people, in every hacking thing I've seen, it's always, the men who are doing that, and I think it's a good feminine, female power house.
Good gender equality.
Yeah.
In the hacking world. Absolutely.
What kind of prep did you have to do for the role?
Well, like, in the pilot, she's not in it that much, so for that it was easier, but, for the season, I think it's been like a good opportunity to learn about hacking and to learn about, all of that stuff that is so relevant in this world, and it's frickin' terrifying. But I think with, creating a character, luckily Sam is such an amazing writer and gives us such great material to work with that it makes it a lot easier. It's just taking that text and creating something with that. And so that's really been, and we talked a lot about the kind of person she is and the reveals of all of that and who she becomes, and it's been fun.
It's going to be exciting to see it. Did you guys just start filming the rest of it?
Yeah, we just started two weeks ago? Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
And all here in New York?
All here in New York, yeah.
On the Martin Wallstrom, if for those who don't know him, he's essentially the king of Sweden already. Yeah. So So how is, I mean, you've done some stuff in the States, but this is the like the first series.
Yeah, like the first big thing in the States, yeah.
Yeah. How is it so far?
It's good. Better food.
Better food
on set. In Sweden, we sit in a room and have peanuts for a week on film. You get your own trailer and fruit. And no, but it's amazing. I mean, being a part of such a great project, and the writing. I mean, the character I play is just a lot of fun. Being an ass on work, getting paid, not have to deal with the consequences. It's a lot of fun.
So there are no peanuts or fruit in Sweden. Is that what I'm?
Yes, there's peanuts
you
and
only
fruit
get
in Sweden,
peanuts.
but we don't get it on set. I mean,
Oh, but here you get it on set.
yeah. It would get
Oh,
it on
okay.
set. So that's
Sandwiches, free haircuts.
That's amazing. You got it made. Is this a dumb question? Is Tyrell a good guy or a bad guy?
I'd say if you ask him, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the last scene made me think, you're not going to tell me anything, are you?
Now,
On this.
about the last scene.
No, is he a good guy or a bad guy?
Well, I mean, he is.
Everybody always looks at me.
Yeah.
You need
No,
permission.
he is, of course, he is sort of villainous.
Okay.
He is. But I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing, just taking what you want. I mean, we heard Mr. Robot and the pilot here talking about stealing and well, everybody steals once in a while. Someone gets bamboozled. So I think Tyrell is, yeah.
You're the bamboozler.
Yeah, could be sometimes.
Yeah.
I guess this is a question for Sam. The Neil Diamond song in the about 3/4 of the way through was so weird and so perfect. How did that choice come about?
Every time, a lot of times when I write, I listen to music, and that song I kept listening. I don't know why. It felt right. Music is weird because, I love music. There's some shows that, and I love, like, for example, The Wire, they don't have any score. And it's so weird to me because I feel like, and I love The Wire, but I feel like music is such an important element of the whole experience. And so when I write, music definitely influences. I always write songs into my scripts because it just helps me find that tone. And I thought for that moment when Elliot wants to revolutionize the world, Neil Diamond.
Who else?
Perfect.
I remember reading it in the script, and so I go, okay, Neil Diamond, who's this guy? Let's check him out. And then I saw this guy in like an all-white suit with his chest hair out and his hair, looked like it was fanned back, and I'm like, oh God, what is this gonna sound like? But as soon as I played it, it struck a chord.
I mean, that was not true. Most people who read the script were like, Neil Diamond, really? I'm like, it'll work. And by the way, I had no idea if it would work. Because you say that, but then you want to see it in the scene, and then people, when they first saw it, they reacted kind of like, it's so weird. I'm like, yeah, it's great, isn't it? Because that's when it's kind of off-putting, but not, I guess it's not distracting, but it feels organic, then that's weird and organic is always great.
It was also great. It's so the show is so cool and so timely that then to have that incredibly uncool thing, so uncool it's cool, but it was a great touch. I loved it. What about the one of the most interesting things about the pilot is the voiceover that Elliot does, which is almost like a different character. It's wiser, it's bolder, it's more aware than Elliot actually is. So is that going to continue throughout the series?
Yeah, I mean, the series, the story starts with him creating this imaginary friend who basically is us, and that's where the voiceover sort of is all motivated by. And I always say that is an important relationship that Elliot has throughout the whole series. So that will definitely be a big presence in the show.
It was very useful in the pilot. When you talk about giving information and exposition, it was
Right.
this incredibly clever way to do that.
Cool, thank you.
Again, I don't know why it worked, but it did. I want to throw it open to the audience now. We're going to have a mic going around. I want to make sure that people get caught on the mic because we're recording.
I was just wondering, I'm an actor myself and I follow what's going on. First of all, wonderful show. Beautiful.
Thank you.
What was the reason for some of the casting changes last minute? And I know Mobley, the role of Mobley was being recast. And what was the reason?
You know, they didn't have speaking parts in the pilot, and so sometimes, you know, when we cast and we get into the, you know, the last days, you know, we don't really get as involved as we'd like to in that process. So that's why we have to kind of do that when we go into the series.
I don't know where the mic is. Oh, there it is. All right. And
Speechless.
people have questions. Yes, ma'am.
Do you already have the ending set in your mind, or is it open to change depending on what the audience responds to?
No, I have the ending set.
They all end up in jail. You don't know if someone kills them or not.
Really?
You guys all have to have it figured out.
Hello, my question is, are there any other cyberpunk movies or books that you used as inspiration for this TV series? And
Well,
also for the actors too, if they use
Yeah.
particular monsters.
Hacking for dummies.
I mean, that's a tough one because, like I said, in this genre, especially in film and television, there's not a lot of great stuff there. However, there, you know, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which we were lucky to have the director direct the pilot. As well, I also like Fincher's version and Social Network, and you know, in a weird way, I kind of have a sweet spot for being hackers. You okay?
I'm alright.
But yeah, there wasn't a lot to go off on. I have to admit. I would say those are more recent films. Also, Sneakers and War Games. If you want to go old
Sneakers
school,
is good.
those are good movies. Yeah. Do you want to? Anybody? Okay.
I think you got that one.
All right.
It's there's a question here. While we get you the mic, I wanted to ask. So, the pilot was directed by Niels Arden-Oplev, who
Yeah.
did the Swedish Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah.
How will he be doing more? I mean, it's incredibly cinematic, very tough to do on a weekly basis.
Right. You know, Nils has never really been into. I don't think he really does episodic. He's kind of a pilot guy. He's shooting the pilot right now, actually, which is why he couldn't be here. But yeah, I think he really wants to have like a month of prep. You know, all these things. So I don't know if he. I mean, he's a great guy, great director, and we were all friends with him. So like, be happy to have him, but I don't know if he'd be interested.
Is it a lot of pressure though, because you have raised the bar? I mean, it's not just the directing, but the writing and everything for the pilot. It's just so strong. What kind of do you feel pressure that you have set the bar so high for the rest of it?
You want to take this?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to compliment you. I'm going to say Sam came in, and you know he's the executive producer, one of them, and he wrote the second episode, and he just directed us in the second episode. And I have to say, for me, it felt as good, and maybe even better than the pilot. So I don't think we're losing any steam. And yes, it was a privilege to have Nils around, but these guys have hired some incredible directors, and they're going to be recurring. So it's not just people that are going to come in 1 week, collect a check. They're all really invested, and they all know, we have a very short time frame to shoot this, so everybody's on their game.
It's good to know. Where was does she have the mic? Yeah.
Hi.
I found the show riveting, great job. I'm a television producer, not for prime time, but for news and reality and whatever else comes along. I was just curious how long the pilot took and what were your greatest challenges, or if you had any anecdotes you wanted to share.
You want to take? You're always good with
Anecdote?
I mean, how long it took? Yeah, it was like 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
And which is a long time for a pilot, or maybe that's the right time. I don't know. And you know, the pilot was initially supposed to be 42 minutes, which is not. That is not what that was. I mean, the script was 54 pages, and you know, the first cut wound up being like 80 minutes. So I mean, this was a pretty ambitious project, and I think that had to do with the fact that I'd never written TV, and I always just wrote features, so I wrote it like a feature. And I think when the producing of it and the making of it was very much like we were making an indie film. It felt more like that than I think a television show.
I feel like that's almost every episode though.
Yeah.
Which is what, so I feel like they're like mini movies because they're also so like beautiful and cinematic. I think that's one of the coolest parts.
New York helps too.
Yeah, New York helps. I mean, we don't do traditional, I mean, you saw, we don't do like the traditional television coverage. I don't even know if that even exists anymore, but we try and, like some scenes we do one take, you know, and it's in a wide shot or it's moving, and it's all about the blocking. So, yeah, it does, I would say I agree with Carly, it does feel like we're making little short films every episode.
Yes, ma'am. We'll get you the mic, and yeah, there you go.
My question is for Rami. You've been so good in these supporting roles basically your whole career, and now you're the lead actor in a show. Had you been looking for a lead part, or were you approached by them to do this show, or?
I had to audition.
You had to audition.
Yeah, I've been blessed. I come in and I usually get like a supporting role that I can dig into for a couple days on a movie or a couple weeks on a movie and jump in. And those characters have been really special to me. And for me, Elliot felt like one of those in a very extended version that I could just sink my teeth into. It's been a privilege and an honor to be the lead of this show, and I'm humbled by it daily, hourly. It's an incredible experience, and I'm just trying to give it as much as I can, so it's not the last time I'm a lead. Yeah, it's a great role. It's just, there's so much depth to this guy. I don't know, as the show evolves and you just dig deeper into who he is, I think he's going to become a classic character on television, hopefully.
Someone here has the mic.
Hi, this is a question for Sam. Sam, awesome job with everyone. We're so excited for the next episode and being the first TV show to premiere at the Film Festival. Kudos to all of you. I think because a lot of us live here in New York and we see the trailers of shows being filmed, we always want to know, how did that happen? So that scene in Times Square with Elliot at the end, was that shot at 5 a.m. in the morning? How did that take? How did you orchestrate that?
We flew through that.
Yeah. I mean, again, it was like an indie film. I mean, you can't do crowd control in Times Square. So if you actually watch that scene,
everybody's watching.
Everybody's staring there around me.
But it almost works.
We had an hour to shoot. It was at 5 p.m.
Everyone was there.
Everybody was
there. It was 5 in the afternoon.
5 in the afternoon. It was in October or November.
The sun was setting quickly.
The sun was setting quickly, so we had to knock off all these shots before we were basically chasing the sun at that point. This goes back to what we were saying before about indie films, film style, because it was pretty guerrilla. We had just a guy, and a camera and Rami, and they just kept doing takes over and over again.
They kept filling in the frame, and I just, in between takes, I would just say, hey guys, I'd love to show you around and tell you all about the story. Just stay back for this take. And they would move back. And as soon as they call action, everybody comes back. It is what it is. They're staring at the billboard in front of the camera. That's
How much? One of the wow moments from the pilot was Elliot's drug use, which you don't dwell on a lot. How much are we going to see of that? How integral is that into Elliot's character?
Well, it is integral because, it's not, I'm not being, I don't want to be coy about his disorder. He definitely has, some issues, and, specifically antisocial disorder or social anxiety disorder. And those are real problems that people deal with by medicating themselves. I don't shy away from it, but I don't, it's not an indulgent thing. We just make it, we address it actually in the first season head on, so.
Is there, I think we have time for one more question. Right over here. That's like an old way.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess this question is pointed towards Sam. You mentioned the financial market, kind of breakdown of that, how people were kind of upset. And you see Chris's character that kind of mentions how debt controls the majority of people, but also he has the capability from a technical standpoint to kind of intertwine there. From I guess season 1 to maybe season 5, what do you kind of see the audience taking away from this, or what do you expect the audience to take away from this?
Well, this is, I don't want to give you a long-winded answer. It might require one. But I'll just try and keep it simple in that, the world economy, oh God, no. I'm already there.
Go ahead.
I just want a conversation about, I think people are not, there's some quote that Henry Ford said a million years ago, which is, I'm going to screw up the quote now, which is if people around the world really knew how banks and monetary systems work, there'd be a revolution before tomorrow morning. And it is just a really, really, the system that is even set up from the get-go was, this is Henry Ford, this is in the 30s or whatever. It's a rigged system. And there's not even a question that it's rigged. And we have been all going along with it because it kind of works. And now we're hitting up against the points where it doesn't work at all. And that just happened in 2008. Who knows if it'll happen again? But I think a conversation about that, I think is a very relevant one.
I want to thank you all. I think we're out of time. I want to thank you all, and congratulations on the pilot. Also, everybody here from the Tribeca Film Festival, thank you. It was these panels.